Well, thank you both for joining me today. I want to say, first of all, that I am a big fan of the series and I'm really looking forward to seeing the finale soon, and I can't wait. So, one of the things that drew me to the series before it even came out was the fact that Westworld's Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan, they were attached to this project, and seeing the similarities in both with, humanoid robots and these mysteries and stuff. I'm curious to know, how much of the story were you aware of, when you got casted, when you were auditioning, even now, how much are you aware of versus when are you told information about your characters, about what's going on? How much of it do you know? How much of it is in the dark with you guys? What's that like going into a franchise such as this, where the mystery of it all plays such a big role?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
Go on, Gary.
It's like you know things and you don't know things at the same time. So like
you don't know what you know and what you don't know.
Don't know. Exactly. Like I was told, like agent told me that like Jonah and Lisa wanted to get in touch and they had a role that they'd like me to consider, and they pitched it to me, and then but they also said don't read the book, don't read the novel, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I bought the novel like straight after the meeting, and then I read it, and I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. And then I read the script, and I was like, well, it's definitely an adaptation. But and then I kind of understood where they came from with like saying not to read it, because I then got confused with like, obviously we shoot things out of order and out of sequence, and I couldn't remember if I'd read something from the novel, if I'd read it from the draft. And there were things that were close to the novel in the previous draft that were now completely different. And I was like, okay, now I'm definitely messed up. And now I don't know anything, and I don't know what the show's about. But but I think I've got it together now. But they everyone gives you as much information as possible. I think they don't want us to like not know what we're doing. And they want us to do the best job possible, and they want it to be grounded and rooted in truth. And so yeah, they always ask questions and gave me as much information as possible. But yeah, what about you, Charlotte?
Yeah, so for me it was sort of similar. I met Greg, and he one of the writers, and he pitched a lot of it to me in terms of like the tone and the feel of the world, and then I got the sides, and I got to read some of the sides of the character, and just from that I was like, it's quite rare that you get sides where the character comes off the page so well that you're like, yeah, there's no way I'm not going to be doing that. Yeah, and then it was sort of, drips and drabs, bits and bobs, until you finally have the whole picture. But things do change a lot, so you have to have confidence in what you're doing with your character. I mean, look, nobody ever changes things to the detriment of like, oh well, this now no longer makes sense of how I've played something, but equally they will change something. So our characters are usually solid enough that you're just placing the character in a slightly different situation. So we shot certain things, and then they came to Gary and I and said, look, I feel like we need an extra part here, and we need this part here, and this is going to really work because we want more of that and a bit more of that. And that's easy. That wasn't necessarily there at the beginning, but you plot it in, and you've developed the character, so it's easy to then place the character in those scenarios. I kind of like working like that.
Yeah, especially with this show where there's so many different timelines, there's so many different years that we're seeing bits and pieces, and it's all stitched together. So having that all come together is quite a feat, I imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but I think they've done a really good job. I think also one thing I realized with this genre is like a lot of fans of science fiction, like they come to a series expecting things to be super complicated and really difficult to understand. When that's not always the case. I think they've done a really good job in this. I'd probably have a really different perspective because I'm in the project. But watching it so far, I think it's easy to understand. Yeah, there are lots of different timelines and things going on, but I think they've done a really good job at making it accessible and having the audience understand and follow everyone's arcs as well.
I think I drove Greg mad because, yeah, but how does it work? Like, how does that technology work? So, like, how does it work? Does the thing? And he said, how deep do you want me to go with that? I was like, I need to understand how it works. I've never ever cared about technology ever in my life before. I was like, and I'd be texting you, but just how? But like, how does that work? Like, is there actually something in science that says that something happens in this last episode now that like completely blew my mind? I'm like, is this actually possible? Do I need to be worried about this? So, I kind of love these like challenges where it's like the borderline between, is this science or is this fiction? Like, blah, and it felt really blurry at times. And I was like, where's this? Is this based on something that's been developed? And that, like, as a mother of 3, I'm like, oh God, this stresses me out.
Exactly, because like things like VR are real right now, and I could see this happening in a few years. At least maybe not to this extent, but that leads me into my final question is, if there's one piece of technology from the show that you could bring into real life now and make it a reality, what tech would you bring?
Well, I love when we sync up and we can see what each other's seeing, but that's also quite dark. I mean, because if someone could hack that, then someone's literally just like like seeing what you're seeing anytime they want, and that's like not cool. But at the same time, it's like that thing when you say to someone, "Oh, I wish you were there," or you want to explain something to someone, but you don't like have the vocabulary to like give all the details, or you like, if you could just like link up and then calibrate, and then that would be really cool. I think that's like super like advanced technology.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the finger wiggly doobie dabs things that you do. I didn't get to do any of that, but also like a little bit like Bewitched, where she wiggles her nose and stuff happens. I want that in my life so that I can do this and stuff gets done. Like, I realize that you don't use it for that, but Gary, but like, if
that would be so cool. Like, yeah, like that's augmented reality. That's AR. Like, that would be so cool. Like,
see how he knows all the thing? Like, he knows the thing. Like, for me, I did it a year ago, and it's like straight over. He knows all the words.
No, I didn't know because like I read the packet, like the press packet of like, this is what AR means. This is what VR means.
Trying to say I didn't do my homework, Gary?
No, I was saying I'm like you. I'm clueless as well.
No, you're a geek. That's what you are, Gary.
I am
you're a geek, big old geek.
Oh. Well, thank you both so much for talking with me today, and I hope we'll see more of you both in season 2.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Me too.